book is about, to me, I believe it's almost like a blueprint in a way to if you want to become a messiah, or at least like the starting point. And yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but definitely like a way to put you in like the spiritual path as far as wanting to become a messiah.
It's definitely true.
Yeah.
It's about like self-improvement. It does talk about self-improvement, how to train your mind correctly to be able to reach a higher state spiritually, especially chapter 4. You might not get that from the first 3 chapters, but chapter 4 and 5, it definitely talks about the spiritual progress and spiritual development, and also talks about how to enhance the power of your love and influence in chapter 5. So yeah, this book is definitely, it says the laws of Messiah. So it may throw you off that, oh, I'm not like a Messiah-like being, or like I'm not here to study about the Messiah. It's like, it's really rooted to your personal growth. Reading chapter 4 and 5, that's what I felt.
Yeah, definitely. Reason for people to buy this, you know, even if you feel that you don't need it, is basically the information that's in the book that, you know, you just don't get everywhere, you know, like this to me is very powerful information, and if we use it wisely, you know, we can all together, you know, change our reality. And you know, for the person that's working and feels like they don't have time, it's like you need to make time for this, you know, like you need to work on yourself, improve yourself, constantly grow as a person and spiritually as well. And I believe this is definitely going to point you in that path.
I agree, because you know how you said that you should make the time to read this book?
Right.
I agree, because we are living in times where it's full of anxiety issues. A lot of people are suffering, a lot of people are stressed because of this, in a way, unprecedented historic event called the pandemic. Unless you're 100 years or older, you probably haven't experienced the last one. So for most of us, you know, it's the first time in our life's history, and we're going through tough times. But that toughness and that hardship or ordeals that we're going through, that daily stress, can be healed by reading this book, because this book helps you systematically look at what's right from wrong. So I believe that a lot of the stress and anxiety is coming from 2 events. One is it's very hard to foresee the future right now. And the other one is, it's like going back to the earlier questions, it's in a chaotic state where you don't know what information to trust. It's like, you know, we call this the democratization of information. Everyone is becoming an author now. You don't have to be a PhD, or you don't have to have high education. Anyone can just write things and post it.
Exactly.
Right? So that's good that everyone is able to express their opinions, but you cannot overlook the fact that that is decreasing the credibility of the information that's being spread. So we need a guidepost to find that peace of mind, to be able, the information to be able to trust. And it's this book is a comprehensive understanding of what's really happening in the world. So it will definitely, I believe, give you peace. Hence, it's worth making that time to read. So the reason I believe this book is so important these days, and when I say these days, is that we're living in very chaotic times. And when I say chaotic times, is the values of each person, different parties, different organizations, their interests are conflicting with each other, because we're living in such a diverse world right now, and it seems as if there aren't any more ground rules, because we've been talking too much about the freedom of speech and the fundamental human rights, and I am, you know, I'm allowed to say anything I want. So that, because of that though, it looks like we've been losing this ground rule, so it's being chaotic. But when you read this book, it gives you like the basis of how to converse with each other. What I mean is, like, you start knowing the true values of right and wrong from God's perspective. So there are certain rules to the freedom of speech too. So there's consequences to the freedom of speech, and it gives you the guideline. That's why I think it's really important to read this now.
Yeah, I agree. I pretty much was thinking the same thing, as far as basically, like, right now we're going through very tough times, spiritually and physically, I guess you can say as well. Well, more physical, but it's really a big spiritual, what I would consider a spiritual war. Whether you want to consider it good versus evil, or the God versus the devil, or you can see all types of things happening in this world right now that seems like it's not for us, or like there's something that's trying to make its way in to change us, that getting us out of our, I guess, human nature. So I believe this is something that definitely will, like you said, pretty much like lay the groundwork and pretty much get us back on track as far as like who we are, what we came here for. And yeah, I mean, this is something that I believe everybody needs right now. We're definitely going through some challenging times.
It's like a textbook.
Exactly.
For the modern people. Well, what's got the Messiah have to do with me? That's a very valid question. I'm sure a lot of the modern day people, especially in advanced nations like here in the United States, are not going to church anymore. They believe that going to a church service is like just a Sunday thing, and Monday to Friday it doesn't have to do anything with me. But however, if we just, fair and square, look at the world right now. We are in a state of confusion, right? And again, the secular world is in a state of confusion. And a lot of the people are trying to find solutions, like a worldly solution to solve these kind of secular issues. But what this book is stating is, it's like, before the secular, there's always a spiritual matter. So what I mean is, before there's words and before there's actions, there's always thoughts. Thoughts are the roots of what manifests as actions. And if the actions are creating confusion in the world, you gotta nip it in the bud. You have to get it to your mind, the mental state, which is equivalent to spirituality. So don't allow this word Messiah to throw you off. That's such a waste of a great opportunity. Don't judge a book by its cover. Right. so yeah, no, it's really, I believe, really important when you feel that you're in a state, this world is a state of confusion, and looking for some kind of a fix to make this world better.
Right. Yeah, I think for the most part, humanity's lost as far as like spirituality comes, and I also see that we do need some type of how do you say, like pretty much some type of order, like how we were just talking before. But basically, a lot of us don't know where to look. Some of us don't believe in religion. Like, I didn't really grow up believing in religion, but I would go to church and participate or whatever. But I didn't feel like the connection to God, or I didn't feel like it was 100% authentic. So I can understand why others would just see this and just like, oh, it's just another religion, or they're just trying to spread their truth and this and that. But like, even if you're not looking for a Messiah, like, the information that's in this book is beyond, it's so much value that it's just like, even if you don't want to believe in the Messiah, or at least take a look at the information and see how much it can benefit you after you read this book.
Yeah, please don't underestimate the author's credibility that he has when he published this book in Japan originally. Law series is like, there's something called law series, right? The book he wrote before this is called The Laws of Secret, but these law series, it's been for 31 consecutive years in Japan. Wow. Bestseller. Nice. For 31 years straight. Yeah. So do you really think that everyone who's buying his books are believer of him? Right. No. A lot of people who don't believe in him still buy his books and reads it because it's valuable information. Exactly. If you look at the Japanese media, literally after he writes a book and it's published, a lot of these like main news sources would just, it's called plagiarism, but I guess it's not plagiarism if they don't cite that it was written by him. Exactly. So a lot of people, a lot of intellectuals, academic people are referring to what he says in his books. That shows you, that's one proof that it's already a very valuable information. So I loved how you brought that point up.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
But why would I have to read this book even if I'm not interested, or I even hate politics? Right. Which I meet a lot in our circle of friends. But one thing that I got to state is the fact, it's a cold fact, that no matter how much you hate politics, you're under its influence. And you're part of it. Exactly. Because you're living in the United States of America. it's like, well, I don't want to get too technical,
Mhm.
but the sovereignty lies in the people.
Mhm.
That's how it is in the United States.
Right.
So what you think, how you act, and how you vote is actually changing your own circumstances around you. So as one form of happiness in this modern day life, get yourself into politics. But I hear your pain. Politics is full of greed,
Right.
lying, deceiving, the swamp.
Yeah, yeah.
So people might not like it, I agree. However, also at the same time though, that's the reason why I want you to read this book. The author, Master Ryuho Okawa, he's a religious leader and a man of religion is like, in my terms, unless they're like a liar or a deceiver, it's like the highest pinnacle of the man of integrity.
Right.
Because you don't lie in front of God.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
Absolutely.
And it comes, your motivation is purely out of love, right? So that's the author. His motivation is purely out of love. It's fully on the foundation of spirituality, and there's no deceptions and lies. So in a way, this book will help you resurrect your faith in politics. Politics is a great tool of love that God has given us. That's why it says from love to love. So I really recommend this book, especially if you're sick and tired of politics.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of us have lost faith in politicians and really don't even care about politics. And we already know, we're not going to say everybody, because I do believe there are good people in our government and politics. But we do see a lot of, like, you know, they'll say this thing and then they'll go and do something else, you know, sign a whole deal behind your back. And so, yeah, I was never into politics. I don't think a lot of us are, but in reality, you know, we elect these people, you know, we put them there, we allow them to make the rules for us, and a majority of these rules that they're making really isn't for us, or we don't agree with, then, you know, we should speak out and do something about it. And just because, you know, he's over here in Washington or something like that, you know, it doesn't make him any better than you. You're just as able to voice your opinion, and if something doesn't, you know, add up, or if something just seems wrong, you know, we can all stand together and pretty much, you know, make the changes that we want. And I'm sure a lot of us aren't happy with the way politics are run, so, but I don't want to like stay away too far from, but what I'm getting to is that, like, he explains pretty much like the history and how these things influence, you know, society, and yeah, I mean, we are influenced by their decisions, and we have to, we don't have to, but we choose to abide by their rules even if we don't want to, you know, if we don't like it or whatever. And, you know, at the end of the day, for me, I believe, you know, like, we are the government. You know, it's not some force out there. We are the government. The people are the government. But, you know, just breaking down the word government, you know, govern, to steer or to control, and then mental, it's all like mind control. So at the end of the day, we need to be the government. We need to be the politicians, and we can do it the right way, you know, learning the principles in this book, what he teaches, you know, what makes sense, what we should stop doing. And like I said, so much information, so much value in this book that it'll definitely turn our politics in the right way, whether you're into it or not.
You know, I gotta jump in this. There was a saying, I was looking on SNS a couple days ago. There was a group of people, and one person asks them a question, and it goes, who wants change? Everyone raises their hand, right? And then the next question goes, who wants to change?
Exactly.
And no one raises their hand.
Yeah.
But that is the problem of what's going on in America.
Right.
If you want that change, you're the one who has to change, because this is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And this is a great guiding principle of being able to change towards God, towards a higher realm, a better destination. So please revive your faith in God's politics.
There you go. 3 reasons why you should read this book and study this book, I believe, is because 1, the information that's in it, you're not going to find anywhere else. 2, you can become a better person after coming across this information. And then 3, it's once you realize who this person is, Master Ryuho Okawa, it's just like, why not, you know? Yeah.
That's a, for lack of better words, that's a hell of a good point. So, for me, the 3 good points that spoke to me is, one is I truly understand why I had that heartfelt yearning towards freedom. You know, I grew up here in America, not in a liberal state, so I understood the importance of freedom in my school education. I was like, why is freedom so important? Freedom can lead to chaos. When there's a lot of people are acting in their own free will, that's why we need the police. That's why there's all these social injustices going on. So I was like, what's so good about freedom, right? But still at the same time, I was like, that word freedom had a spiritual value to me. It's like, there's gotta be some kind of meaning behind it. I never met the answer until I read his book. And he gives it, my goodness, he defines freedom from the very root of it. It's a spiritual value of happiness. So that was the first one. And then the second one is chapter 4, the heart of the earth, where Master Okawa, the author, talks about Shambhala. Oh my goodness. For those of you out there who like spiritual books, who's watching this video, who likes Okawa books, I'm sure you're spiritual. You're gonna want to read chapter 4.
It's intense.
Intense in a good way. It's like an intense course of spirituality. It will blow your mind with new information, and oh my gosh, it's just so great. If you're into theosophy, things like that, you gotta read it. And then chapter 5 is like the third point about the true meaning of love. He takes it up a notch. It starts out with the individual importance of love, making it into the love within politics, and then it turns into a galactic love. What I mean by this is how to sustain this planet Earth from spiritual perspective as a training ground for our souls. Not like an environmentalist way, but a spiritual way. So the definition of love has been redefined completely for me by reading this book. So these are the 3 points that I recommend.
Nice.